Hey, first grade. Last week in math, you worked on some addition problems and used different strategies to help you add. This week, we're going to be talking about subtraction, but using some of the same strategies. Let's go through. Our objective for today. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to say, I can subtract by finding the missing addend. So in this lesson, we're going to be talking about what missing addend means and how you can use that to help you subtract. Let's get started. So first off, we're going to talk about what a missing addend means. In addition, two addends are added together to equal the sum. Addends mean the smaller numbers that get put together to equal the sum, and the sum means the answer. Here's an example. 5 plus 4 equals 9. 5 and 4 are the smaller numbers that get put together, and 9 is the sum. So if you know both addends and the sum, your equation is all done. But what happens if you don't know one of these two addends? If you have a missing addend, you need to count on from the known addend and stop when you get to the sum. You need to start at the number that you know and count on until you get to the sum. Stop when you get to the sum. Let's look down here at the bottom. 6 plus blank equals 8. Start at the number you know. Start at 6. Count on until you get to the sum. The sum is 8. So start at 6, count on, and stop when you get to 8. Let's do it together. Start at 6. After 6 is 7, 8. Stop when you get to 8. How many numbers did you need to count to get from 6 to 8? Right, 2. You needed to start at 6, count 2 more, and get to 8. That means that 6 plus 2 is 8. We just solved a missing addend problem by figuring out how many numbers it takes to get from the addend that you know to the sum. But it's not always going to be addition. How can we use this strategy of missing addends to help us subtract? Let's look at a couple examples that you might see on your worksheet. How can we use addition to help us subtract? Number 1 says find 6 minus 5. So using the strategy that we just learned, we need to count on from the number that we know and stop when we get to the sum. So the number that we know is 5, and the sum is 6. Start at 5 and count how many numbers does it take to get to 6. After 5 is 6, and that's it. It only took one number. So the number on this blank, or the number that we write here, goes 1. 5 plus 1 equals 6. Now we can use these same numbers, 5, 1, and 6, to solve our subtraction problem. We have 6 minus 5 equals, just like we wrote a 1 on the addition for the missing addend, we can write a 1 for our answer to the subtraction problem. 6 minus 5 equals 1. We can double check by putting 6 in our brain and counting down 5. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. When all of our fingers are down, the answer is 1, and that matches. Our missing addend is 1. Our answer to our subtraction problem is 1. Let's try the same strategy again for 7 minus 6. Number 2 says find 7 minus 6. Let's look back at our anchor chart. Remember, two addends will be added together to equal the sum, or the answer. If we have a missing addend, you need to count on from the known addend, but stop when you get to the sum. So if our missing addend equation is 6 plus blank equals 7, the known addend is 6. The sum is 7. Do it with me. Start at 6. Count on until you get to 7. After 6 is 7, and that's it. Again, there's only one number in between 6 and 7. So 6 plus 1 equals 7. We can use these same numbers, 6, 1, and 7, to figure out our subtraction problem. 7 minus 6 equals 1. We can double check by putting 7 in our brain, putting 6 fingers up, and counting down. Before 7 comes 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All of our fingers are down. There is one number left over. 1 is our answer. 7 minus 6 equals 1. We just used missing addend equations to help us figure out our subtraction equations. Now, there's a question listed at the bottom here. I won't be answering it, but I want you to think about it. How can addition help you solve a subtraction problem? How can strategies that you've learned about addition help you figure out how to subtract? Take about 10 seconds to think about it. Tell somebody that's next to you, how can addition help you solve a subtraction problem? Very good. So hopefully you've learned a little bit more about missing addends, and you can use that strategy to help you subtract. Remember, our objective by the end of this lesson, what you should be able to say at the end of this lesson is, I can subtract by finding the missing addend. Here's how you put your knowledge to the test. On your home learning activities, you're looking for this section, this box in the top right. I have it circled by red. Complete I-ready math practice 5, understanding of missing addends, on page 11. So find this section and scroll down to page 11 or flip through your packet. Here you'll see page full of problems where it asks you to use addition to help you subtract. Even at the bottom, you might see a discussion question that looks a little familiar. So hopefully you've learned a little bit about another strategy that can help you subtract. Stay tuned for another video and do a great job with your math. You got this.